Imagine stepping into walls that have witnessed centuries of power, art, and devotion. Corridors echoing with voices of monarchs, gardens where royals strolled at dawn, halls draped in frescoes and gold, rooms that still carry the scent of incense and legacy. Today, we invite you on a journey through palaces of timeless grandeur and eternal luxury, not just as buildings of stone and marble, but as living monuments to ambition, belief, and beauty. From Asia to Europe, from deserts to Himalayan foothills, these are the homes of emperors and kings, each palace telling its own story of opulence, identity, and the weight of history. Let's begin in the heart of Rajasthan, India, with the city palace of Udaipur. Built by Maharana Uday Singh in the 16th century, it sits majestically on the eastern banks of Lake Pichola, merging water and architecture into one sweeping canvas. Enter through its gates and you move between courtyards, each more intricate than the last, lined with mirrorwork, terrazzo floors, and delicate jolly screens that filter sunlight like lace. Inside, small chambers designed for private meditation contrast with grand halls meant to receive foreign dignitaries. The Dilkush Mahal with its whispering fountains, the More Chowk emblazoned with mosaics of peacocks, the Zanana Mahal reserved for queens. They all speak of a palace built to balance public power and private life. From terraces, you see shimmering, water-reflecting palace walls, the Aravalli Hills rising beyond, a view royals once claimed as their dominion. From Udaipur, we fly west to the storied palaces of Morocco, where the palaces of Fez and Marrakesh endure as symbols of royal legacy and artistic mastery. The Dar al-Makhzen in Fez may not be fully open to the public, but its gates guard courtyards, paved in Zeli tiles, archways carved with calligraphy, and rooms with carved stucco that seem to float like lace. In Marrakech, the Bahia Palace is a lesson in understated luxury. Commissioned in the late 19th century, it blends Moroccan tradition with Andalusian beauty. Gardens laid out with fruit trees and fountains, chambers lined with cedar wood, gilded ceilings painted with geometric motifs, and private riads for quiet retreat. You walk through private courtyards meant for lovers, reception halls built to host sultans, and hidden corners where poets once penned verses beneath flickering lanterns. Crossing continents to Europe, we land in Versailles, France, the palace that redefined what royal luxury meant in the West. When Louis XIV moved his court there in 1682, Versailles was no longer just a royal residence. It became a symbol of centralized power, absolute monarchy, and artistic ambition. The Hall of Mirrors, with 17 arches and over 350 mirrors, is less a room and more a sensory assault. Sunlight, reflection, and gilding converging to overwhelm. The King's State Apartment opens through a sequence of rooms so carefully designed that each view frames the next, a theatrical procession of space. The gardens, mapped with fountains, pathways, groves, and statues, are the stage upon which royal parades and daily promenades unfolded. Even the ceilings are paintings, allegories of the Sun King's glory, divine right, and celestial favor. Walking through Versailles, one feels not just the weight of history, but the ambition of a monarchy that wanted to define Europe. But there's another kind of grandeur in the East, in palaces that merge worldly magnificence with spiritual symbolism. The Potala Palace in Lhasa, Tibet rises in tiers of white and vermilion against the Himalayan sky. Once the winter home of the Dalai Lamas, it's a fortress, a monastery, and a symbol of Buddhist authority all in one. You ascend steep steps through chapels painted with mandalas, past shrines where butter lamps burn eternally, see relics in chapels lined with gold, and arrive at the roof terraces where prayer flags flutter against the wind. The Potala doesn't whisper about luxury. It asserts transcendence, reminding visitors that in some cultures power is not shown by gold alone, but by integration between worldly presence and spiritual height. Closer to the plains of India sits the Mysore Palace, a living, breathing example of royal life in the 20th century. With Indo-Saracenic architecture fusing Hindu, Muslim, and Gothic elements, this palace is built for spectacle. The Durbar Hall is grand enough to host the crowning of princes. Its ceiling glows in gold filigree and stained glass. The Kalyana Mandapa is a marriage chamber draped in velvet and mirror work, where the Maharaja once married his queen amid fanfare. At night, the entire palace is illuminated with 100,000 light bulbs, casting a warm glow across its domes and towers, a daily reminder that royalty still lives here in stories, if not in power. There are palaces that seem to play with illusion. Think of the Alhambra in Granada, Spain, a Moorish fortress palace where the whisper of water, the curve of a fountain, and the tilt of a tile seem designed to deceive your senses. Court of Lions, with its stone lions dripping fountains, is surrounded by arched corridors lined with carved muqarnas that capture light in infinite patterns. The Palacios Nazaris balance the rough fortress with delicate stucco ornamentation, translating Arabic poetry into walls. Every inch is covered in script, geometry, and floral design. It's luxury not through heavy gold, but through refinement, rhythm, and timeless craft. Walk its patios at dusk, and you feel the breath of cultural memory, of Andalusia when East and West intertwined. Journeying to the Middle East, few palaces rival the sheer audacity of the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque's adjacent palaces in Abu Dhabi, or the Qasr Al Watan in the United Arab Emirates. Qasr Al Watan, though labeled a presidential palace, feels like a timeless monument. The throne room's towering columns, lavish chandeliers, and hand-stitched carpets create a canvas of national identity. Its libraries store manuscripts and treaties. Its courtyards echo with recitals of poetry and statecraft. Every detail, from the inlay of marble to the vaulted ceilings, is a dialogue between tradition and modern ambition. Walking its halls is stepping into a vision of a future that still sees itself rooted in legacy. All these palaces, though separated by continents and cultures, share something profound. They are embodiments of human aspiration. They tell us about those who built them, the dreams, insecurities, and values of rulers who sought a legacy beyond time. They are also living museums, each corridor preserved, each fresco restored, each chamber echoing with stories of love, war, ritual, diplomacy, and rebellion. Yet in their opulence, there's also paradox. What is priceless is not always gold or marble, but the silence between rooms, the way evening shadows shift over a carved frieze, the smell of aged wood and incense in a chapel. These palaces teach us that luxury is not just material. It's atmosphere, memory, and ambition given space to breathe. So as we continue deeper into this journey, we'll walk you through hidden palaces less visited, explore how modern monarchs maintain these legacies, and show how contemporary luxury still draws upon ancient principles. Because in a world racing toward minimalism, these palaces remind us that sometimes the impossible is built not just in metal and silicon, but in stone, story, and the unyielding human desire to be remembered forever. As our exploration continues, we move from the iconic palaces everyone knows to the lesser-seen masterpieces that quietly define the soul of luxury. These are the hidden gems, where history, art, and personal ambition merge into something that transcends architecture. Every one of these places holds a mystery, a secret chamber, or a forgotten tradition that still lingers like the scent of old perfume in their hallways. Let's begin our second chapter in Istanbul, where East meets West, the Topkapi Palace, the beating heart of the Ottoman Empire for nearly 4 centuries. Perched on a hill overlooking the Bosphorus, this palace is less about towering facades and more about intimate courtyards that unfold one after another.